Because I am dyslexic, I am a very bad speller. And I feel so fortunate to have grown up in a time, first of Smith Corona correcting ribbons you could just insert, and then computers and word processors that would catch your spelling errors. I'm so lucky. I might not have been a minister otherwise. But as I've been thinking about this idea of losing, I kept spelling it loosening or loosing. This is not the only way my brain makes sense of things. As a UU minister, it's not so uncommon to mix up dog and God, but I've also been known to confuse sacred and scared, or absence and abstinence. I've even been confused a bride and a groom on occasion. Those mistakes often make me smile, even if I don't say them out loud. And sometimes they make other people laugh, but sometimes they make people angry. As I see it, my errors can reveal how thin the veil between our words and our experience can be. How what we call sacred can also feel scary. How both abstinence and absence can make the heart grow fonder. How a rose is still a rose by any other name. Loosening our grip on one meaning lets another meaning emerge. As we all age, we lose things. When I'm stressed, I lose my keys, my cell phone. As we age, we naturally lose our independence, our ability to drive. I know for many, losing the right to drive is a death knell. My 91-year-old father has told me that if he can't drive anymore, he will feel like he is dead. He has driven long distances with ease for much of his life, and driving represents to him freedom and independence. Whenever we hold so tightly to one thing that offers us security or freedom, that without it, it feels like a death, there is nowhere to find joy. There is no loosening or losing. If we could hold our losses, our forgetfulness, more loosely, how might that become something much as Sophia Loren described in our centering thought? When I got confidence, the stage was gone. When I was sure of losing, I won. If we hold our losses more gently, might the stage or the canvas or the words on the page or the destination or even our personal freedoms just dissolve into something more fluid? Might even our not being able to drive become an opportunity for a connection we did not have before? If we loosen our grip on our losses, might we still find a new way to enjoy life more fully, or have a different kind of freedom in another way? A few years ago, I bought my father an Alexa, in part because he would often call me and ask simple questions that I sometimes did and sometimes did not know the answers to. How many justices are on the Supreme Court? What's the name of the 5th president? What is a sixpence worth today? These were not pressing questions. I could have taken my time to answer them, yet I was always concerned that I might lose sight of his queries and forget to find the answer. However, to be honest, since I have bought him the Alexa, his questions have only evolved to how to fix it or reboot it or to make his phone work. And I miss the more variety of brain teasers I would get. I love my dad, and any reason to talk to him is a joy. But my angst about giving him a backwards or wrong answer is what urged me to offer him the most up-to-date, quick answer technology. And to tell the truth, I miss the old questions. If I could have held his need for answers more loosely, I might have realized that I enjoyed researching the answers he was looking for. When my father calls me now, he sometimes forgets why he called. This is another time when holding more loosely to his forgetfulness helps him to remember. Just last week, he rang and after a while kept feeling pressure that he couldn't remember the one thing he wanted to say to me. When he pressures himself, he almost always can't remember. If he holds it more lightly, he sometimes can. And I don't mind either way because it usually means I get to talk to him twice in a day. In his book, Full Catastrophe Living, Jon Kabat-Zinn offers a metaphor when talking about letting go of the thoughts we have when we meditate. I think this applies whenever we're trying to remember a thought that we've lost. The metaphor goes like this: hold your hand open. Imagine holding your hand open and putting a feather in your hand, like on the front of your order of service. Imagine that this feather is in your palm. Now, if you try to grab that feather, it often floats out of your hand. Or if you try to push it away, sometimes it sticks with static electricity. But if you hold that feather gently and just wait and notice it, sometimes it goes away on its own. It eventually drifts away. The same is true for all of our thoughts. All the thoughts we want to hold onto or let go. If we hold them too tightly, they often slip away from us. If we try to push them away, they sometimes stick in ways we don't want them to. But if we hold them loosely, they often come and go with ease. Now, I'm not saying that holding loosely to your thoughts will help you remember everything. I left my keys here last week. Or that allowing yourself to worry about losing your thoughts will make you remember. Simply that letting ourselves get angry about our forgetfulness or feeling bad about our losses or holding on to any strong negative emotion about what we've lost keeps us stuck in ways that loosening our grip, riding the waves of change, helps us move through our lives with a little more ease. And this just isn't about individuals, it's also about us as a congregation. When we can loosen our grip on the way things have always been, the way things used to be, there are infinite variations of the way things can become. I too have looked at the old photo with Bob Murphy and the number of children that were in the photograph. And it made me a little sick to my stomach to think that we don't have children now. And yet, what a beautiful congregation we are. What a vibrant and beautiful congregation we are. If I hold too tightly to one idea of what a church is, do I lose sight of what a church can be? Absolutely. So much of life, as Elizabeth Bishop reminds us, is about losing. Whether it's objects, time, people, or even our memories. In her poem, One Art, she speaks of the art of losing as something we must learn to master, a process that, while difficult, can become effortless with practice. She speaks of losing not as a disaster, but as part of the natural rhythm of life, a way of letting go that can feel free as we move and live more fully. And I think that's the key, the practice of loosening our grip on what we've lost is part of accepting that we can never, ever hold on to anything forever. That's just life. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with intent to be lost, that their loss is no disaster. When you really think about it, losing games, losing keys, losing our heads, all throughout our lives have given us practice to lose things with ease. As Jenny and I have been looking at houses, I've been reminded of how important it is to hold loosely to our desires. So often the places we've loved the most have been gone before we could even agree between ourselves on a bid. It can be heartbreaking at first, each door closed like a small loss. But over time, I've remembered to hear in my own disappointment an echo of the Buddhist caution, not to cling to outcomes or to lust after what we imagine will make us happy. As I have loosened my grip on the process, it has become lighter and gentler, even hopeful as we hold each beloved house more loosely, blessing it for whoever would live in it, and stay open to what might come next. In that openness, something has shifted from striving and scarcity to curiosity and trust, from loss to possibility. Billy Collins also reflects on loss in his poem Forgetfulness, portraying how over time our memories gently slip away from us. They just do. With a tone that is both humorous and poignant, Collins shows us that it's not just names and titles we forget, but entire parts of our lives. Yet he doesn't treat forgetfulness as a tragedy, not something to cling to. Instead, he presents it as a natural part of being human. The poem is filled with images of things drifting away, like the title of a book, the name of an author, or a forgotten love poem, capturing the quiet erosion of memory. As Colin writes, whatever it is you are struggling to remember, it is not poised on the tip of your tongue, or even lurking in some obscure corner of your spleen. It has floated down a dark mythological river whose name begins with L as far as you can recall. Perhaps we too can approach our forgetfulness with the lightness of humor and remind ourselves that it is an inevitable part of life that doesn't need to be feared or resisted. There's a certain comfort in knowing that even things we forget are not gone forever. They are simply moving to a different part of our minds and have gone off, as he imagines, to some fishing village in the southern hemisphere of your brain. And as they drift, new thoughts, new moments, new memories are born. In our UU faith, we trust that nothing is ever truly lost. It is evolving with the possibilities that only letting go can offer. We cannot control the passage of time. We cannot hold on to every moment, every memory, every person that we love, but we what we can do is loosen our grip on them. What if, instead of clinging to what we've lost, we let go as gently as if we were releasing a feather to the wind? What if we could allow ourselves the freedom to forget without any judgment, and to lose things small and large without grief? In the end, I think mastering the art of losing, of forgetting, is all about loosening our hold on the things we cannot control. It is about being open to the ebb and the flow, the gains and the losses, without holding too tightly. It is, as the poet reminds us, something we can learn to master, not as an absence, but as inviting a space for possibility of release, and ultimately to an ultimate new sort of freedom we haven't even imagined yet. So as we continue on this journey of life, may we remember that every loss is not a disaster. Every forgetting is not a failure. Instead, let us remember that the fluidity of our lives is when we hold loosely to the things we can never keep forever anyway. In doing so, may we find that we can enjoy the present moment even more fully, remembering that even in our losses and our loosening, we win.